Hello and welcome to Chadify, everyone. In this video, we'll be analyzing someone's facial attractiveness, as well as discussing the things I've been up to over the past 6 to 12 months. I would like to thank individuals for allowing me to showcase the results here and to support the channel Chadify. I mean to neither disrespect nor put anyone down with this video. The purpose of Chadify is to help others. I am not a medical professional or licensed practitioner, so please seek professional advice before undergoing any treatment. I will be employing a mathematical rating criterion that I developed. Face number one, guys, he's 29 years old, 188 pounds at 6'1". Straight off the bat, here's the front view. He looks like a bit of a scrapper, and then here's a side view and a smiling shot. In terms of phenotype, face number one appears like a clear example of the B phenotype of Georgia. Now, this phenotype does stretch a little bit into Europe as well as the Middle East, and notably, he does have light eyes, so it kind of is a little bit of a differentiating feature. However, I will preface that many phenotypes in the Middle East can still have light eyes. So let's dive right into his best features in order of importance. So first of all, like I said, he in fact has blue eyes. Now, normally this is a low importance trait, but because of his geographic and phenotype presence, it has more of a beneficial effect in some ways having blue eyes when you're from a region which notoriously is known for having darker brown eyes. Secondly, he has an excellent mid-face ratio of 0.98 to 1. This is highly compact and really works from a facial attractiveness perspective. The mid-face is so critical in terms of attractiveness, and it shall never be overlooked. Thirdly, he has positive canthal tilt with 7 degrees of canthal tilt in both his left and right eyes. This is very good. Fourthly, he has a relatively trapezoidal jaw. I recognize the fact that he could have more outward growth here, but the base that he's working with is quite good. And honestly, if you look over at the B phenotype, that he has this trajectory of genetics, judging by the actual shape of his jaw, where I feel like he could fill out his jaw better and more going forward. Additionally, he has good chin projection, notable from the side view here, and he has a lengthy ramus despite a slightly lackluster gonian development, which may be connected to the fact that his jaw is not quite wide enough just yet. Furthermore, he has dark, thick eyebrows and eyelashes, although there are some flaws in that region that we must address soon. And he has short eyebrow distance, especially on the left side. Face number one has a straight mandible, and he has defined cheekbones. Again, the fact that he has defined cheekbones and a decently trapezoidal jaw infers the fact that as he improves going forward, he's going to have this really good runway to make progress. Additionally, he has great eye spacing with 104% of one eye width apart and an ES ratio of 0.48. This is right in that excellent area. And finally, he has a pretty good smile. There are some flaws when he's smiling, which must be addressed, but for the context of just nice teeth, he's got it. On to the flaws. First of all, face number one has a major flaw, which is related to his right eyebrow being substantially higher and asymmetrical in relation to his left eyebrow. This flaw also connects to some other things, including the fact that his right eye is asymmetric to his left, having much higher upper eyelid exposure. In some ways, this may be caused by a more strengthened muscle in that region of his forehead, pulling up not only his eyebrow, but also his upper eyelid. This happens to some people in certain cases. It's actually a relatively common thing and can be fixed through various methods within reason. Thirdly, he has slightly swooped eyebrow appearance in that specific eyebrow. Again, all these things are connecting in a slightly negative way. Although these are not typically high importance flaws, because of how notable they are. That's the first thing you probably see when you look at this guy. At least that's the first thing I see. It has to take precedence in our list. Fourthly, he does have some potential hair loss. This isn't something that you just immediately notice, but it's definitely taking away from his facial attractiveness in a big way. And we will be seeing this in the chatification later. Fifthly, his ears stick out quite a bit and are a little bit undersized. Luckily, the fact that they're undersized, although a flaw, can benefit the fact that they stick out more. In a way, it's mitigating some of the detriment from them sticking out. Think of it this way, when you have ears that stick out, the worst possible scenario would be for them to also be oversized. Next, his gonian development is somewhat lackluster and almost appears that he is a slightly curved gonian. I do believe through mastic gum chewing and different things like that, we could improve this area regardless. However, the structure underneath isn't quite ideal. Seventh, he has a relatively wide nose. Now, in the photos here, it appears that from the front view when he's smiling, it's much more noticeable. Actually, this is the case for me and many other people who have relatively above average sized noses, because when you smile and it's a bit wider, sometimes the actual cheekbones kind of pull the nose out. I wouldn't say this is a major flaw at all, but it is something that kind of messes with his facial harmony a little bit. You can notice when he's not smiling, it's far less noticeable. Perhaps this guy actually has done some fighting in the past, flattened his nose. It almost looks flatter from all angles here. And he has a 1.3 to 1 nose ratio, or if you want to do it the nasal index way, let me give a second here. He's a nasal index of 77, which is a little bit higher than optimal for his phenotype. Although because he's in the B phenotype, they can have bigger noses, and this is probably the reason why he's a larger nose. Unfortunately, his side view is on a slight angle. That said, it does appear that his cranium looks a little bit smaller in relation to his face, which is also throwing off his facial harmony to some degree. That said, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, guess face number one's rating. We got the pretty boy blend masculinity scale here. Boom! 6 out of 10 from the blend masculinity perspective, with a slight tilt to the more masculine zone at about 6.5 out of 10. He does have a slightly rougher appearance than the average man. Looksmaxxing advice, face number one. Typically when I do looksmaxxing, I like to follow the order of operations. This means that I like to focus on the biggest flaws first. In face number one's case, the eyebrow is leading to an uncanny appearance from all angles. This is going to require a multitude of different efforts. The first thing that I want to consider here is the idea that the left eyebrow should actually be lifted. This might seem counterintuitive, as many men want short eyebrow distance, as it is more attractive and facially ideal, especially for more masculine men. However, in face number one's case, due to the large discrepancy in eyebrow height from the left and the right view, it definitely makes more sense to actually lift the left eyebrow alongside lowering the right. This will involve either a traditional brow lift or a temporal brow lift. A temporal brow lift is focused on the outer parts of the brow. So basically, like, think lateral, think like the outside. Purpose of it, lift the eyebrow in that area. And if we do this for face number one, we can achieve a slightly more harmonious look. Then what we're going to do on the other side is a reverse eyebrow lift. This surgery is designed to lower the brow. So we lift the left eyebrow and we lower the right. So we do that first, and then we do an eyebrow hair transplant to restore some of the lackluster areas. We can honestly lower it further by transplanting hairs in that lower region there. That's what I think is the most optimal thing going forward for face number one. So now that we've addressed the eyebrow area, I do think that a blepharoplasty may be required on top of this to reduce the upper eyelid exposure of the right eye. And as a result, if we can lower it and bring things down further, that would be more optimal. Thirdly, we need to address the hairline. I believe once we lower that right eyebrow, it's going to make the forehead look that much bigger. And as a result, getting a hairline lowering would be ideal. Though it's tough to say here whether he is experiencing hair loss. Face number one appears to look like his hairline may be naturally high up. And when this is the case, sometimes getting a hairline lowering can bring a thick-haired scalp down further. Moving on, I think an autoplasty for his ears, just to pin them in more, would be ideal. Nothing too substantial, because he already has small ears, so we almost don't want to do it too severe, or else his ears will look too undersized, but just bring it in a bit. On top of this, mastic gum chewing. I have an affiliate link in my description. You're welcome to buy from it. Would hypertrophy his gonian regions substantially. Even if we do the mastic gum chewing in the gym workouts and everything, neck training, so on, it may not be enough to fully chadify his jaw. As a result, he could look into fillers for the jawline and the chin to square it off further and fully attain the trapezoidal Chad jaw. Finally, lip fillers to kind of plump up his lips a little bit more could be ideal, but this is purely optional. And for whatever reason, I kind of addressed this more hard looksmaxxing stuff first, as well as just growing out his hair a bit longer. Sometimes it's nice to take a very masculine looking face and add some softness to it. This weird harmonious balance. One thing to note is I did slim his nose a bit, which could be possible through a rhinoplasty. Also, Getting some fake tanners, like just a tiny minimal rub into the skin healthy tan going on, could be very beneficial in this case. Time to Chadify face number 1. With infinite budget comes infinite possibilities. Let's take him up to the A+ level of attractiveness. Boom. As you see, the curve shifting to the right, and his hairline coming down, his right eyebrow coming down, his ears going in, and we've achieved perfect facial thirds here, and his face becoming more attractive all across the board. You can see how much of the Chad potential face number 1 has here. And then we also have his outfit changing, which is an incredible addition to the series. I really like the idea of looking into fashion as well as facial attractiveness. And my god, this slightly blue tinted leather jacket looks friggin' incredible with this textured t-shirt or long sleeve shirt underneath. I may buy this because it just looks so good. And then we got some longer haired variations. Although I'm not as much of a fan of the medium length hair, the extremely long hair seems to suit him extremely well, as we noted earlier through his Looksmaxxing suggestions. And then we move on to his smiling chatification, and you can see that, sure, I slimmed his nose a bit, but I kept the natural kind of look to some degree. And he simply looks incredible. Truly believe that most, if not all, of this progress is attainable through various natural and more surgical methods. And this will serve as a blueprint for face number 1 going forward. Here's a quick breakdown of what my website includes. My conventional package here includes a face rating out of 10, which comes with detailed analysis, Looksmaxxing suggestions, and one chatified image, as well as a morph video showcasing the before and after transformation. All of this is done while taking your masculinity and phenotype into consideration. Also have add-ons, the first one being add more chatified images. This one is extremely common if people want a side profile shot chatified as well as maybe a smiling shot. Many people like to add more. Secondly, I got a quick delivery 24-hour service. And then finally, I have a full private video option. If you want like the craziest detail, this is it. I want to offer a unique perspective. When you work on something continuously, it's easy to fall into a routine where the process becomes more mechanical and less creative. While this hasn't been the case for me yet, I realized that over time, repeating the same tasks, though essential for the channel and income, can hinder long-term innovation. A prime example is my face rating series, which has been critical to my brand and has kept everything afloat. Without it, my vision for this channel wouldn't be possible. However, despite my genuine interest in the series, I find topics like masculinity, phenotypes, and their interactions with my rating series far more engaging and creatively stimulating. With Chadifying, my goal is to evolve this niche by refining its details while also reaching a wider audience, allowing for more people to benefit from the knowledge. Through research, development, and creativity, I believe we can achieve something greater than we've accomplished so far. That said, I acknowledge the short-term windfalls in this process, as growth involves exploring many new avenues, each of which are time-consuming in their initial stages. The key is to balance consistency with long-term plans to ensure a successful channel, brand, and overall business. Ultimately, guys, what I'm trying to say here is that I love my rating series and I'm going to continue it, but ultimately I need way more big picture videos similar to my Looksmaxxing for your masculinity video, similar to my phenotype videos to come out to keep this entire Chadify process growing and becoming bigger and covering a broader array of topics. I'd also like to briefly summarize what I've been working on over the past 6 to 12 months. First of all, travel and phenotype research. Throughout 2024, I visited 2 Latin American countries to research regional phenotypes with a focus on the significant admixture resulting from colonization and immigration. This required extensive in-person investigation into people's lineages and origins. This research is crucial for my upcoming installment in my Ethnicity Phenotype series on specifically North and South America. This will be released in the coming months. This leads us into our next major topic, which is the addition of female attractiveness and phenotypes. While I've already created virtually every male phenotype, many of those videos remain unreleased. Do not worry, by the end of 2024, virtually every video will be released. That said, a key component still missing is the female counterparts to each male phenotype. Female phenotypes/ethnicities must also be addressed, and I understand that this might be controversial, and some will oppose it, while others will strongly support it. However, there are multiple reasons why this is important. Firstly, many women would benefit from learning more about Looksmaxxing. Honestly, many already do understand it through the use of makeup and other methods. However, there's a noticeable divide between women who understand these topics and those who don't, which can lead to struggles similar to those experienced by men, for example, feeling unattractive compared to people on social media, friends, or even acquaintances. Often this isn't due to actual differences in facial or body attractiveness, but rather a lack of understanding about how to present their optimal appearance going forward and how other people are using certain products and tactics to cloak their flaws and improve their appearance. At Chadify, or rather, potentially a sister channel that I will be creating, I would like to work quite a bit on a few different female series, whether for phenotypes or flat out rating analysis, Looksmaxxing, and stasification. This isn't just for women, it's for you guys too. We often have a gut instinct about what looks optimal, but when we explore less conventional phenotypes or different looks from the norm, confusion can arise about what's truly attractive to us. For men, understanding these variations can help us identify our type, if we even have one, and broaden our dating perspectives to include new ethnicities and phenotypes. It may sound unusual, but I believe this will help clarify what we prefer and even reveal information regarding our quote-unquote looks match, which is essentially someone of similar attractiveness and appearance to ourselves. In some ways, this is what's been happening regarding women, as I have a small minority of women who watch Chadify. Many of them are engaging in what they find attractive to their own unique perspective, and they're learning a lot from the channel and realizing that some of their types or some of their pre-notion beliefs were incorrect. I truly think this topic is fascinating irrespective of gender and should have no boundaries, whether we analyze women, men, or whatever. But I also understand keeping it somewhat separate for those who prefer the distinction between the two. Totally understandable, hence why I'm considering a separate channel. This is still up for debate, so I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic regardless. My final announcement is the fact that I've been building a software to enhance my analysis. This is something I could talk about for hours, maybe even days, but I'll keep it simple and spare you the gritty details. Since the beginning of Chadify, I've meticulously measured faces in Photoshop, analyzing one attribute at a time. My precision has always been strong, but I'm notoriously detailed and often slow, which makes it hard to release videos frequently. This impacts my brand's success both financially and in terms of popularity. I consider so many factors: masculinity, harmony, symmetry, and especially ethnicity and phenotype. Each of these elements is so complex and time-consuming, which is one reason my price point is slightly higher than other channels and services out there. I offer more detail and a chatification edit, which represents my study in its purest, most artistic, and practical form. I have a bachelor in engineering, so naturally this means I have a background in problem solving and software development. What sets me apart in my field is that I not only know how to build software, but also how to market it effectively. Using this expertise, I've developed a custom calculator that bootstraps all the necessary data for an individual or client in metrics such as phenotype, masculinity, and more. These metrics built into a software helps automate my process, boosting both precision and efficiency. I've invested countless hours into this project and it's still a work in progress. But the good news is that Chadify will soon be able to deliver top quality videos every week. And that's a promise this time. I won't go into specifics yet, but big things are on the way. And as a result to having far more time, I'm going to be able to communicate with more of you guys and do so much more with Chadify. Chadify will become more famous and it will become better, higher quality, and more useful while doing so. Anyways, guys, I apologize for only analyzing one face in this video, but there's just so much going on, and I haven't forgotten about any of you guys. I am extremely excited for the future. I think we can really change people's lives. And not only that, we can improve Chadify together. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like or comment, and I'll talk to you guys next time.